Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Charlene Madrid, and you can find me pretty much anywhere just by searching Dream Craft Create. I'm so excited to be at the summit, you guys. Who's having a good time? I hope everybody's really enjoying themselves. So I've got Ardith in the background. She's piping up questions for me. Okay, Cheryl, what is the highlighter tape you use? Oh, no problem. It's literally called highlighter tape. And it is actually the same stuff it's made by the same company that makes the Easy C crafters tape, and it's literally like the same tape, but this is called highlighter tape, and you can get it for like half the cost. So, um, see, I can always Mm, I don't know if I can add that somewhere, but I'll see if I can put a link to it somewhere for you. Stella Crafts by Pam. Love your name. What's the spinny flower that I use to organize die cuts? Oh, this thing. This thing is fun, you guys. It's just cute, right? Like who doesn't love cute things sitting on your desk? I cannot remember what company makes this. I don't know if that helps anyone. It says SN on the back, but I got it from scrapbook.com. So it's called something like Petal something. Again, I'll see if I can link that somewhere for you guys. Jane, question: how long have you been card making? Ask because you're a baby. I'm probably older than you think I am. I have been card making for not very long, actually. I think I started making cards 3 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. But I, believe it or not, my oldest is 19, and my youngest is 9. So I've got 3 boys. So I will take the compliment, though. Thank you so much. Okay. Stress-free card making. Do you have any crafty quirks, things you like that others don't, or vice versa? Oh, yeah, I've got lots of quirks. I would say my quirks tend to lean more towards my process than anything else. I am the type of person that cannot work very well unless my space is completely organized and clean because I start overthinking and worrying about like, what is that pile over there? What is that thing doing over there? I always worry that I'm going to lose stuff. So I clean up my space after every card. Also, because I am a very messy crafter, because I get really excited about making a card and I'll pull out like 40 things. So if I didn't put it all away after crafting, I would not be able to function. So that's probably my biggest quirk. Also, I have to have everything like clean. So I frequently will clean off my glass board. I clean my brushes after every card I make. I know. Don't be like me. It's too it's too stressful. Leave your brushes and your space fun and messy. Um, good question though. I love that question. That's a good one. Stress free. What do you do when you've lost your mojo? I come to events like these. I love, even though I'm a teacher and I have a YouTube channel and I spend a lot of time doing work for design teams, I also go out of my way to attend summits. I like to watch other creators on YouTube. I'm just like you guys, I watch artists, I watch Justine, I watch Natasha, I watch, all the people that are here at this event, in fact, and they inspire me. I'll go, oh, I want to try that technique, or oh, I need to remember how they use their white gel pen or different things like that. And then if that all else fails, I will sit down and I will pick a technique or a product. And I'll say this is what I'm going to focus on. Today I'm going to color. or today I'm going to use embossing folders. And that usually gets me back into the crafty swing of things. Oh, yes, there's my YouTube channel. Feel free to come join me over there. I love making video tutorials. They're all very similar to the one that I did for this summit. I also have recently started doing more lives. Uh, I unfortunately don't have a very consistent schedule yet for the lives, just because I'm working around, my kids' schedules and everything like that. But come hang out with me. I love teaching and I love seeing new people and answering questions. Olivia, do you remember your first ever card? Well, I think it kind of depends on what type of card, right? So what actually started me in card making or in crafting in general was my husband bought me a Cricut a couple of years ago. And so I just dove right in. That's another thing about me. I tend to just like go headfirst into something and will want to learn everything about it. So I learned everything I could about my Cricut. I learned how to design SVGs, everything. And one day I wanted to put something shiny onto some flowers that I made. In fact, it's that piece back there I've got hanging. And I discovered perfect pearls. And that was my rabbit hole into card making. And so my first probably card I made that was with card making, like the traditional card making like this, was I bought a Spellbinders Fall Blooms maybe, or Leaves Are Falling, I don't remember. And I made a fall card and I was very pleased with myself. I felt so artistic, and that's what I love about card making. I think it is a form of art. And every time I make a card, each card's unique, and I love that about it. I think it's the most amazing hobby in the world. And for me, it's a lifestyle. That's what I tell everyone. So I hope you guys are enjoying all the classes so far this morning. There's so many good ones. Creative treasures. Do you prefer making cards individually or in an assembly line? Personally, I always make in batches, so this technique works for me. It depends on what I'm making cards for. So I oftentimes am making cards for design teams that I'm on, or I'm making them for a video tutorial that I'm doing. So those will all be individual cards. But if I am making holiday cards for sending out to friends and family, I will do this type of assembly line where I try to make it so that I can still build in that individuality to each card or to each couple of cards, which if you haven't watched my presentation, it's all about mass producing die cut cards and how you can do it in such a way that you don't get bored, right? Because sometimes you can get kind of bored making, 30, 40, 50 of the exact same card. And with this formula, you can make 5 of one card and then you change up a few things here or there. And so, for instance, like if you change the color of your cardstock or the color of the die, um, or the ink that you're using. So, like this one, I don't know, kind of hard to see on there. I use shades of pool and navy, and then this one I just did an all navy, changed up the sequins. Um, did this one kind of with a white background, different sequins. So that way it keeps me interested and motivated to make all of those cards. Because when you're mass producing, it can get, for me anyways, I know some people love it. I have some friends that all they do pretty much is they mass produce cards. So, teach your own for sure. Millie, do you have a specific space where you film your videos? Yes, I do. So I'm in my craft room right now. I'm very, very lucky to have a really nice crafting space. And so, like in front of me, you guys can't see this setup, but I have like big lights and I have a giant monitor behind me. And then I have my crafting surfaces down here in front of me, and I have a camera that comes over the top of it. How do you organize and store your stamps? Oh, So if you guys have ever seen any of my presentations in other summits or things like that, you'll know I'm a bit of an ink junkie. That is what I have a lot of, and largely because I don't keep around a lot of different cardstock, so I use a lot of ink colors to create my own cardstock colors. But if you look over here, you'll see I'm running out of space. I've got to figure out some more space options. But I've got my Catherine Pooler Party Line inks here, which I just got actually a couple months ago, I think. I've been using them and loving them. And back there, I've got my Distress Oxides, my Simon Says Stamp dye inks, Altenew Fresh Dye inks. These guys are VersaFine Claire. And then over here are like all of my specialty inks, my black inks. I have a video over my YouTube channel that, especially if you're newer to card making, is all about inks. It's a long video, but it goes over every ink type, what they do. Um, I think the name of it is Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Inks and Then Some. So it's a great video if you have any questions about inks. And I organize them generally by it depends on the ink line. So like Altenew, I organize by color family, whereas other or not color family. I'm sorry. I organize by groupings that work really well together for layering stamps versus like say my Catherine Pooler inks. I go from essentially light pink to red, light orange, orange, green, blue, and then I go all the way down. So long answer to a short question, but it just depends. Question. What's your tip to put the paper card cover in the MISTI so that the stamping on your die cuts doesn't mess up, so to speak? So put the cardstock so that stamping on your die cuts doesn't mess. So in the presentation, I used, let's see if I can grab it. I'm pretty sure in the presentation I used my scrapbook.com sticky mat. So this makes it so that when as long as you can see it has grid lines on it. So as long as you put your next piece of paper in that same spot and you use the jig over the top of it, then your die cuts are going to stay in the same space and they'll match up with your stamps. If you don't have a sticky mat, the main reason I used a sticky mat in the presentation is because I have die cuts that go off of the sides of the card. So you can see there. And so if I don't have a sticky mat in there, it won't work with the die cuts going off the side. But if you don't have a sticky mat and you just want to do it without the die cuts going off the side, then you don't need to use a sticky mat. You can just put your piece of cardstock right into that corner of your MISTI every single time. And that's going to make it very easy for you. There are also, I have a lot of different sticky mats, but there are also sticky mats that are newer from Waffle Flower, which are awesome. I have them now. I don't think I actually had them at the time I made the video, but those go into your MISTI and they work great for holding your things in place. I hope that answered your question. And if it didn't, by the way, you can always tag me in the Facebook group. Just tag me with Charlene, at Charlene Madrid. It'll notify me, and I'm more than happy to go and answer any questions there. It'll notify me. Martina, what do you do with all the produced cards? So I do make a lot of cards. So right now, actually, you can kind of see, I put all of my cards in here as they get made. And normally, as soon as this is full, I go through it and I see what cards I want to hang on to. Like I'll hang on to holiday cards so that I can send those out. And I'll hang on to some like birthday and thank you cards. But everything else I send to, I donate it to, I believe it's called Smiles for Seniors, and they go to nursing homes and assisted living facilities, and all over the country. So it's a you can have fun and then feel good too. It's nice to feel good about your work. Maureen, who did you get your ink organizers from? Okay, so these are from Organize More, the ones that I have hanging on the wall, and this one. There's a couple other places too. You can get ink organizers from Stamp and Storage, which I actually have my marker organizer. That's where that's from. It's from Stamp and Storage. So those are two places online that cater to craft room organization. Question, do you mix ink companies on one project? I just recently put all reds and one all purples together. It depends on what kind of card I'm working for. So if I'm doing design team work for a company, I will stick with their ink colors. Whereas if I'm doing something for my channel and I'm not doing it for anything specific, I will sometimes, if I don't have the right shade, and who's to say what's right and wrong, right? But if I don't have the shade that I want to use, I'll pull from different companies and use different ink colors. And also, I like to use combine ink types on my cards. So I might use like Distress ink and Distress oxide on a card. That's fun. I'm going to take a drink. Stress free. What area in your craft room would you still like to get better organization in? I have it pretty organized right now. I actually just did like a full reorganization recently because I felt like I needed to um, destash some of my stuff because it was kind of wild. I will say probably I need a better system for the patterned paper that I do have. I don't have a lot of it. I tend to like I said, make my own pattern paper or make my own colored cardstock. So the pattern paper I do have is kind of in a lot of different places, so I don't think to ever grab it. So I'd like to organize that some more in a little better way. Olivia, any other cool organizational tips? So I will tell you the very first thing, if you're newer to card making, it's a good idea to figure out what style of organization really pleases you. And I tell you that because I found that people generally fall into one of two categories. Some people really like everything to be put away, out of sight, neatly put, into drawers and cabinets with doors closed and things like that. And then there tend to be other kinds of people that really want everything to be more in reach. So, depending on which style of crafter you are, that can really change how you organize your space. I like to have everything in reach. So for me, that means like I need to have my ink pads out in the open so I can just easily grab them. Same thing with my markers. And then same thing, I've got this turntable here where it's got a lot of the things that I frequently use. I can just grab them off of there. I've got my brushes. You guys can't see it, but I have all my brushes and I have all of my kind of like frequently used tools right here, my glue press, my all of that good stuff. And then I have bins up over here that I can pull down really easily. Question, do you have a YouTube video that discusses making your own background paper and cardstock? I don't have a specific video that I can think of that just addresses that, but if you watch my videos, you'll see that on a lot of them, I create my own backgrounds. Oh, I thought of one. I have one that is about creating a floating vellum sentiment, and in that video, it's a more recent video. I create my own pattern paper using layering stamps. I think it was layering stamps. Yeah, with layering stamps. So check that out, and it'll give you ideas about how to create your own paper. Question. I live in very humid Florida. I cannot get pigment ink to dry. I've tried heat gun and leaving it out. I'm still waiting 7 weeks later. Humidity definitely will impact what you use in your cards. Also, the type of pigment ink you're using can impact that as well. So different, and I go in more in depth into this into the video that I have on my channel, but the base of whatever your ink is will impact its dry time. So you can have pigment inks that are fast drying and slow drying. So you might want to check that out. And then also, it's the same thing with dye inks or hybrid inks. Some dry faster than others. So if you really like the look of pigment ink, you might want to look for one that's more of a fast drying pigment ink. In general, though, it is hard to get oxides and pigment inks to harder, I should say, to get them to dry in very humid areas. I know I have friends that don't like to use oxides that live in Florida because they are not Florida, sorry, Louisiana, because they don't dry as quickly there. So, I would say there's no real perfect answer to that. I wish I had one. Linda, how often or how much time do you spend in your craft room each week? I am in here pretty much every day for about 6 hours a day, I would say. I do this just pretty much full time. I do a lot of design work for various companies, and I have my YouTube channel that I keep up on, and then I do summits and things like that. So this is pretty much my full time gig, and it makes me so happy. I love that I get to do this. Maureen, do you find it easier to buy dyes or do you use Cricut much? My poor Cricut, it does not get used very much at all. I still break it out every once in a while, but usually I break it out if I'm going to be making a shirt or a cup or something like that, or like if I want to make rolled paper flowers, I'll use it. But for the most part, I use dyes. But I also have a brother scan and cut, which I use that. If I don't have a dye to a stamp, I use that to cut it out. So, but I mostly use dyes. I do mostly use dyes. I'm very fortunate though that I get a lot of product from companies at no cost because I am on the design teams. So that's really nice. Cindy, do you also like to use punches as well as dyes? I have a few punches. They are generally shape punches that are things that I would use where it's like I want to just grab it really quickly, and getting out a die and using my die cutting machine seems like too much work. So I have like circle punches that I'll use or things like that. But that's really the only punches that I use. Tania, and I hope I pronounced that right. Do you think it's more economical to make your own colored cardstock with your inks versus buying colored cardstock? I will say that in general, yes, it is. And that's because the cost of paper has gone up so much in the last few years. I use a very high quality colored cardstock. I use the colored cardstocks from Concord and Ninth. And, if you price it out and see how much each sheet is, it's pretty expensive, but it's a very high quality paper. So I'm very judicious about how much colored cardstock I use. When I do use it, I cut out the exact amount that I need for my dyes and things like that. But it is more economical to use your inks to create your own colored cardstock if you think about the cost of what a bottle of re-inker is and how long that would last you. Tina, how do you store your works in progress, like finished die cuts, ink backgrounds, etc.? It depends on what it's for. So I have a couple of different ways to store kind of like things that are works in project or works in progress. I have a drawer that has a lot of backgrounds in it that are things that maybe I created and then I realized I don't really like it for this card, but maybe it would be awesome later for, die cutting out a sentiment, a word die, or some other card down the road. So often, if I'm not finding exactly what I want, I'll go through that drawer. and see if there's anything in there that I can pull and use. And then if I have a specific project that is in process that I need to keep separate from something because I'm doing it for like a company or something like that, I use, let's see if I can grab it. I gotta kind of cover up what's in here because, but I use these bags like this and I keep them in there. It's time to wrap up. Oh my gosh, that went by so fast. Thank you, artist. Yes, definitely tag me in the Facebook group if you have any questions. I hope to see you all over on my YouTube channel and definitely make sure to check out my freebie. It's a really good one. It's a comparison chart with distress oxides and distress inks, which will help you in your card making. And I hope you guys are having fun and enjoy the rest of your summit. Bye.